Why does the good we mean to do go bad? What makes the happiness we sought turn sad? Where do we go all wrong with things we touch? How is it life can hurt so very much? Ages ago, our ancestors believed, when they felt wrongly treated and aggrieved, that all the evils of existence came from one appalling source they dared not name. So they personified this force they feared, and since it seemed particularly weird, they did not care to call it into mind, except as something hostile to mankind, such as the devil. If we need to seek the origin of this, it comes from Greek, diabolos. A lying, slandering one is meant when everything is said and done. In Latin also, which is rather odd, it could be Deo falsus, or false god, both definitions meaning much the same as a description rather than a name. Then we have Satan. That old word, of course, is traceable to a Semitic source and signifies opponent, one of ill intent who takes advantage of the innocent. A clever one is Lucifer. At sight it only means a bearer of the light. But what bears light? Significance is stark. What carries light can only be the dark. In other words, the troubles of this life, its evils, aggravations, and its strife, can all be summed to one symbolic head, personified as everything we dread. This often is a useful course to take when wondering what moves mere men may make, avoiding things we often come across in life which cause us so much pain and loss. Here is the simple reason, plain and clear. If we could focus on a single fear, inclusive of all else, and concentrate on that alone, we might avert such fate. By dissipating energies around among the wrongs and worries we have found, our forces fritter into uselessness instead of channeling through consciousness. But if we brought those energies to bear, by all the power of which we are aware, with laser-like intentions on one spot of focal evil, we might hit the lot. So surely this makes most surprising sense that scarcely calls for special eloquence. In order to convince a lively mind, we truly need a devil of some kind. What? Need a devil in our day and time? Are there not enough in human form responsible for every sort of crime and evil that we think of as our norm? That is quite true, of course. But even then, there are deep motivations as a cause which could be termed the devil drive of men to make us contravene good living laws. Add such to whatsoever else as well is anti-human in this universe, and we shall find an inner state of hell as bad as anything we know, and worse. The whys and hows of such a fearsome force are matters of opinion and surmise, somewhat beyond this limited discourse on dealing with the devil in disguise. Now, by the devil should be clearly understood our own considered concepts and ideas of all that goes against our highest good and threatens to fulfill our deepest fears. Let us be certain of this issue here, since 2 points are connected that relate, and we must get them absolutely clear to see how they affect each other's state. The first is everything in life that thwarts our best intentions as evolving souls, ill-treats our finest natures, and aborts our efforts as achieving noble goals. The second is, however we may feel or think about such sad perversity, through terms we use admitting it is real to help us tackle its adversity. One is the devil as a living fact, we all experience to some degree. The other, we create as we react by struggles that we hope will set us free. Like is a remedy for like, they say. So, if we would avoid the very worst and keep adversities we fear away, we need the second to combat the first. Here is a problem for us right away. How does a modern devil look today? The antique fiend that caused us so much grief as a monstrosity is past belief. Let us forget those talons, horns, and wings, together with all such outdated things, and greet the devil when he now appears to claim his title as our Lord of Fears. Is he a mushroom-shaped atomic blast? Will he cremate humanity at last? Or does his deadly influence apply through factors beyond reach of ear and eye? Perhaps we all of us have our ideas of how the devil nowadays appears, if we think up contemporary dreads and make symbolic pictures in our heads. Some see the devil at his old-time tricks translated into present politics. Or maybe something else they strongly hate in social structures such as church or state. To some, the devil seems most sinister disguised as a religious minister, or something altogether greedier, a master planner of mass media. A few, indeed, might very much insist their devil was a sociologist, or, for that matter, ists of any kind who interfered with what they had in mind. Some find the devil just a bit too much in everything they see, hear, smell, or touch. And yet, how often do they look inside to see if he comes with them for the ride? Whether in abstract shape or humanoid, our devil seems a creature to avoid. Some people make it altogether neuter, as an ultimate doomsday computer. Then we may choose our devil how we will, as anything we think intends us ill, although it might make some of us feel sick to see the choice from which to take our pick. Perhaps it could be called a compromise to look that devil straight between the eyes and see a scientist with super brain, emotionless and awesomely insane. Something completely icy and remote in a long white laboratory coat, whose research project could be well defined as finally frustrating humankind. When we have got the image of our opposition clear, we next will have to figure out a good position near for taking up a fighting stand against the demon shown and commencing an effective opposition of our own. Those of us who know about the seven archangel scheme should soon discover that we have a really expert team of spiritual specialists with weapons which they wield, called crown, cube, cord, sword, rod, and cup, and finally a shield. The crown belongs to Metatron, who guides us from on high, the cube unto Zandalaphon, who keeps up our supply. The cord connects Suvuvial, our link with verity. The others gather round and help with due celerity. Raphael ahead of us makes swordplay in advance. Michael upon our right displays his shining lance. Givriel behind us pours the contents of his cup. Oriel at left protects with screening shield held up. What does this special symbolism really signify? It shows a way we can proceed and things we ought to try in order to defend ourselves from spiritual ill with systematic conduct and at least a little skill. Above us, Metatron implies our link with life divine, which should direct the trend of our deliverance design. Zandalaphon below us means available supplies, for keeping up the action of this special enterprise. Raphael distinctly shows how we should be awake, confronting coming dangers with decisive moves to make, because a cowardly enemy will rarely risk attack on anyone who looks prepared and likely to hit back. Mikael means uprightness in the full sense of this term, which tells us we are justified and keeps us standing firm, with poise and power projected like a lance of living light, against all things of darkness in a cause we know is right. Sangreal would have us act in quite another fashion, taking up an attitude of merciful compassion, while overcoming ill with good, attempting to forgive our enemies who are against the way we try and live. Oriel is caution, well combined with common sense, which causes us to take the best of care with our defense, since when a conflict rages round with hatred and aggression, the highest valor is no use at all without discretion. Suvuvial sums up in us the total truth we feel that seems good sense in any life and helps to make it real, until we are quite certain we embrace a worthwhile cause within a cosmic state controlled by spiritual laws. Then, if we mean to face and fight our evil opposition, such are the principles we need to hold a strong position, from which to counterbalance whatsoever we shall meet, and live with some success instead of quite so much defeat. We may as well remind ourselves, in case we ever falter, that fundamentals stay the same while their externals alter, and our best of modern methods we think adequate today will extend into our future in a very different way. For instance, many years ago, practitioners of magic, being motivated like ourselves by drives that can be tragic, believed they might gain anything if they could but persuade the devil as an entity to come and lend them aid. These operators often thought they summoned up the devil by working in symbolic circles drawn out on the level, looking at a smaller circle sketched around the place where Satan was invited to stand forth and show his face. From such positions, sorcerers invoked infernal powers, and kept their conjurations going for maybe many hours, cajoling or commanding fiends in no uncertain fashion, then, if these never answered, roundly cursing them with passion. What with the herbal drugs they took, or plain old-fashioned drink, and clouds of incense making an hallucinogenic stink, together with the psychic stress they underwent as well, they frequently supposed they met some visitors from hell,